Going to review the Galaxy S3. In fact, you kind of got already a little bit of a peek at it. This is the latest, hottest Android phone, a very strong contender for the best Android phone out there with the HTC One. This is the version I'm using is the unlocked international version because, of course, I had to have it before everybody else. And I'll tell you a few of the things I love about this phone. First of all, it is a 4.8-inch Super AMOLED display that is just gorgeous. Now, Samsung did make this a pentile display. That's the same kind of display that the Galaxy Nexus used, and I didn't like because I saw a lot of color noise in the whites on the Galaxy Nexus. Well, they've avoided that problem with this display. There is nothing to complain about. They have 3 modes, a dynamic mode, a natural mode. I have it on the most dynamic, colorful mode because it's so colorful. I just love this display. And by the way, notice how smoothly, this is Samsung's TouchWiz 4 to go with the ice cream sandwich on this phone. Notice how smoothly I'm going from page to page. This is, believe it or not, a quad-core Exynos processor in here running at 1.4 gigahertz. That's a lot of power for a smartphone, so much so that I thought, you know, I'm going to put my aquarium wallpaper. I never use this wallpaper because it uses up so many CPU cycles. On a normal phone, this would slow it down. But you know what? This phone is so fast, I can afford to spend some CPU cycles on having fish. Let me just feed these fish. I'll just tap it right up here, and they all come to the top of the screen and get their food. It is dinner time, after all. This is the 16 gigabyte version. They do sell a 32 gigabyte version. You can add an SD card. So I've got the 16 gigabyte version with a 32 gig SD card. To me, that's plenty of horsepower, plenty of storage. This uses an 8 megapixel camera. In fact, according to iFixit in their teardown of the Samsung Galaxy S3, this is exactly the same Sony part that the iPhone 4S uses. And I did find it, in fact, an excellent camera. And the camera app on here, this is the Samsung camera app, not the ice cream sandwich camera app, has some really sweet features. 1080p 30 frame per second video that looks spectacular. And you see, we also have some special kind of shooting modes, including an HDR mode that I found was quite good, a smile shot that actually looks for smiles in the picture and waits till somebody smiles, and a panorama that's great, that's automatic and very fast using this 1.4 gigahertz processor. I take 8 images, it stitches them together almost as fast as I can save it. There's also a cartoon mode that, you know, some other modes that you'll hardly ever use. It's got a decent flash, although, as always, flash on camera phones isn't very good. I'd say this camera is not quite as good as the iPhone 4S camera. Obviously, Apple's done some real optimization in their software, but it's pretty sweet. Now, you are going to want that 1080p video because this is an HD screen, 1280 lengthwise by 720 across. That makes this over 300 dots per inch. Is this a Retina display? You bet. It's probably the best display I've ever used, and that includes the high-quality iPhone 4S display. So a gorgeous phone. All the carriers, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, and T-Mobile in the U.S. say we're going to carry it by the end of June, early July. And the prices I've seen, which are kind of interesting, are very affordable. They are charging $200 with a 2-year contract. That is about $100 less than the premium Android phones have been in the past. Obviously, they want to be competitive. By the way, that $200 is a pretty good deal. Well, at least on the unlocked version. I got 2 years of Dropbox, 50 gigs of Dropbox storage included in that price. Unfortunately, AT&T and I believe Sprint have both declined to take advantage of that Dropbox offer. So for reasons I don't understand, you won't get it. One thing you will get, though, is an Android exclusive. This is the amazing Flipboard, which has been out on the iPhone since December. It's already out on Android, but only on the Galaxy S3. And boy, it's a great way to show off this beautiful, fast device. I mean, it really, really looks good. I have to say, I'm very, very happy with this phone in every respect. Are there negatives? Well, you've heard me talk about the pros. Very, very fast, probably faster than you'll ever need on a smartphone. A gorgeous 4.8-inch 1280 by 720p screen. You can't get better than that, at least not right now. It's smaller than my Galaxy Note, but you know what? I like it a little bit smaller. I still have as much resolution, as much stuff on the screen as I did on the Note. It doesn't have the Galaxy Note's pen, the S Pen, no stylus included. I don't really miss that. In fact, the only negative I could come up with on this phone is because it's so, oh, look how thin it is too. And they've also eliminated the bump that was part of the Galaxy S2. So thin, very light. It's plastic on the back, Gorilla Glass 2 on the front. And that is my negative on this. It's kind of slippery, and because, you know, the Galaxy S3 is a fairly new phone, there are a dearth of accessories, very few decent cases available. It's not like an iPhone in that respect, and I kind of miss that. Samsung has bundled some very nice apps. The TouchWiz interface 4.0, I think, is quite good. It's very unobtrusive, but you, of course, could use another launcher like Nova on this, or in fact, I'm going to be trying one called Apex a little bit later on. The Galaxy S Memo application is quite good. I like that a lot. The camera app that Samsung's provided here is good. They have their new Music Hub music store on here. I'm not going to use that. But believe it or not, the music player that this comes with is pretty darn good. In fact, good enough that I replaced Double Twist with it. It's the music player I use. Oh, and that's another nice feature of this phone. It supports DLNA. So I was able to launch Pandora and the music player and immediately play music from my phone to my home stereo system. My Onkyo AV receiver supports DLNA. Many TV sets do. Even my little Grace Mondo internet radio supports it. So I was able to play audio from this phone to a variety of devices. Video looks great on it. It's a little slippery. It doesn't have a whole bunch of accessories, but in every other respect, this is a phone worthy of being, of the title, the best phone on the market. Certainly, at least as good as the HTC One, which is the tough one out there right now. I think this is a fantastic phone. They got pre-orders of 9 million units before the phone was even available in the, even announced in the U.S. I suspect by the time it ships, June 21st in the U.S., they're going to have sold very many more. This is probably going to be the biggest selling phone out there for some time to come. The Galaxy S3, buy it. Buy it. There's no question in my mind. This is absolutely the nicest phone I've ever used. And whenever I show it to anybody in person, they ooh and ah. They say, boy, that is really gorgeous. This screen will just knock your socks off.